Let's look at another quadratic function in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Let's find the vertex of this. So it's going to be negative b over 2a. And let's think about the shape of this graph. Our value for a is 1. So we have a positive a, which means we're going to open up. We're going to have a parabola that looks like a U and has a minimum. So this vertex that gives us the minimum is going to be negative b over 2a. So negative 2 divided by 2 times 1 is 2, which gives us negative 1. We're going to plug this into the original function to see what the y value of our vertex is. So I'm going to have negative 1 squared. Be sure you put this in parentheses so that you get negative 1 squared as being positive 1, not negative 1. If you don't put it in parentheses, it won't come out correct. So I'm going to plug in negative 1, and I should get negative 4. So my vertex is negative 1, comma, negative 4. So we don't have negative 1 in the x value here, but it's about halfway between 0 and negative 2. So there's my negative 1. And based on the shape of this graph being a U and that being the vertex, how many times do you think we're going to touch the x-axis? It should be twice. So we're going to double check by calculating the discriminant. The discriminant is always b squared minus 4ac. So in this case, we have 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3. So we really have 4 plus 12 is what it ends up being. So we get 16. If the discriminant is bigger than 0, we have 2 real roots. So how many real roots? 2. We're going to touch the x-axis twice. And that's because our discriminant was bigger than 0. 2 real roots. Any time you have a positive number. So it's not because it's 16 specifically, it's because it's positive. We're going to use the quadratic formula to find the zeros of the graph, or find those x-intercepts. So x is going to be negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And the nice part is we already calculated b squared minus 4ac. B squared minus 4ac is 16. So when we replace negative b in there, the b value of this function is 2. So negative 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, that was 16. We already calculated it. Times, or divided by 2 times a, which is 2. So we get negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 16 is 4. All over 2. So we're going to get 2 answers, one when we add and one when we subtract. So I'm going to do negative 2 plus 4 divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. There's one of my roots. And then the other one, negative 2 minus 4, will give me negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. So the 2 x values where I touch the graph at the y is 0 mark. So we have negative 3 has a y value of 0, as does positive 1. So the real zeros are the x values that give you a y value of 0. We have 1, 0, which we plotted on there, and we have negative 3, comma 0. And now we can connect these. We're going to make our U-shape parabola with 2 real roots, and it's a U because we have a positive value for a. If it was a negative a, we'd be flipped upside down.